Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. It's a great fortune for all of us to get one more chance to chant this powerful mantra of Bhagwan, especially right in the shrine of Bhagwan. We have been seeing a few drops from the ocean of Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar's Leelas. Many of them I talk about seem to be related to our daily life, the problems that we face. That how we, in times of difficulties, we keep chanting and chanting, we invoke His grace, and then all the difficulties change into blessings. Now this seems to be very worldly. That's what people say, that these Leelas, where people ask for worldly things. They want something deeper than that. But then in today's condition of the world, it's very important that we talk about our problems and the solutions. The one who gives the problems is also the one that can solve the problems. And that's why we have to appeal to Him again and again. Even in ordinary household, when the problems crop up, we desperately begin to chant His name because we want some help, divine intervention. And when we do it, our problem gets solved. Now immediately it strengthens our faith in Bhagwan. With the result, we chant more and more. So it takes us closer in our kinship with God. So it is at once temporal and spiritual. You cannot dismiss it as temporal. It is also spiritual because we get more and more established in the faith. As we have been seeing, every difficulty, every suffering is given to us by God only to push us towards Him. And in that sense, every suffering is also a blessing in disguise. Now we shall see one or two events where how Bhagwan's grace rescued people. There is one Muruganandam from Salem. He said his wife was pregnant, and when the delivery time came, she was admitted in one small general hospital in a place called Ammapet. And there, even as the pain started, it was only the beginning of the pain, she suffered so much because she could not bear pain. And the doctor said that the uterus, this placenta, was less, and then the child had to be taken by only cesarean, and it should be done immediately. And then for that, they said, we could not do it here in a small hospital. You have to get her admitted in the General Hospital in Salem. But then that meant a lot of money, which he could not afford. So the only way out of this problem was Yogi Ramsuratkumar's Nama. Shri Muruganandam had not even seen Bhagwan. He had only heard about Bhagwan and his Nama. So he started to chant Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama desperately. Not only that, he told his wife also, listen, don't worry, don't fear. Just start. I will teach you this mantra and you start it. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guraya. You keep on chanting and Bhagwan will definitely pave way for us. And then when he came out and sat there in the veranda of the hospital, chanting the name desperately and praying and praying and praying, within half an hour he heard the scream of a child, a baby. And he knew to his wonder and delight that the child was born. And it was a normal delivery, and the doctors who said she had to be taken to a better hospital and they could not do the cesarean and all that, they were the ones who helped her, and it was normal delivery and the child was born, was healthy. He said, it is the power of the name. When the doctors said they could not do anything, it is Nama that came to our rescue. And what rescue? Is it so odd? Is it an ordinary help? Only when we are left in that situation, we would know the intensity of pain, the hopelessness, the helplessness, the desperation that we go through. And that pushes even more towards God. So these are all blessings. He said he talks about another incident when his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, had a heart attack. Immediately he was rushed to a hospital. He was kept in the ICU. When he improved, when he seemed better, they said that he should be kept there for some more time. Angiogram must be done, and then accordingly the treatment must be given further. But his sister would not listen to all that. As soon as her husband got better, she brought him home. And then they started to take some Ayurvedic medicine after that. Okay, 1 week passed, and again he had a heart attack. So he was rushed again to the hospital. They said we would keep him 1 or 2 days here, but we cannot guarantee anything. He is in a critical state. He may live at the most 1 more day. They gave this ultimatum. Now once again, Muruganandam was desperate. He knew that Bhagwan was the only answer to this situation. And he started the Nama. He gave a small photograph to his sister and said, you also keep chanting, some help will come, Bhagwan will open a way. And then they heard that there's a hospital, Kuppuswamy Naidu, in Coimbatore, and then if the patient was taken to this hospital, there was a chance for his survival. So they rushed him there, got admitted, and again the doctors there said, we would keep him for 3 days in ICU, and right now he had no energy, and therefore angiogram could not be done. So let him wait for 2 days in the ICU. Again, Muruganandam was desperate, his sister was desperate, and they was chanting and chanting and chanting ceaselessly and intensely. Somehow in those 2 days, the patient picked up strength, only from the power of Nama. And then the doctors immediately did angiogram, and they found the block, and then they did angioplasty, and then he became normal. Till now, he is healthy. His heart is functioning well, And Muruganandam says it's all purely the power of Nama. And he added one more information. He said, to our delight, there was another gift of grace from Bhagwan, because in the hospital there in Kuppuswamy Naidu Hospital in Coimbatore, they did this angioplast freely, which meant saving nearly 1.5 to 2 lakhs. All because of Nama. So it strengthened their faith in Nama, and Yogi Ramsuratkumar became the center of their life. A lady by name Bama from Tuticorin, she has written an article in which she says that she was having constant headache. Naturally, she could not do anything, even in everyday life. What would she do with such a heavy headache? She felt terrible. And then she approached a doctor and a hospital. They admitted her, and then they said that she had to drink a lot of water and then only the scan could be taken, this and that. She was not able to reveal all the details because she had no knowledge of it, but she felt that it was not working okay. So by then she had heard about Yogi Ramsuratkumar and his Nama. She started to chant the name, and she remembered a friend who was staying closely. She sent word for some Vibhuti, the ashes of Yogi Ramsuratkumar's shrine. And she was chanting the name desperately, seeking help from Bhagwan. And the next day, the friend sent a watchman carrying the Vibhuti, the ashes. Bama was very happy. Immediately she applied it over her head. She took a little also with water inside. And then she said gradually it disappeared completely and it never came back. And next time when she met the friend, she thanked her nicely for the ashes that she sent. But then that friend said, "What are you talking about? I never sent anything to you. In fact, I came to apologize to you that I did not send the Vibhuti to you." Mama was surprised. It was her turn to be surprised. She said, No, you sent through watchman Ramaswamy. And then immediately he called the watchman and asked him. The watchman also said, No, I never brought anything to you. In fact, I never even met this friend. And then she knew in a flash it was Bhagwan. It was his boundless grace that materialized, that came in the form of the watchman and handed over this beautiful medicine, the ashes from the shrine. There are also incidents of the Abhisheka Tirtham, the water which has been used for pouring over the shrine in the Samadhi. When this was dropped into a well which had no water, then very soon there was rain and the well was more than half with water. So these things, the ashes from the shrine, the water, Abhishek water, and above all the mere Nama chanting. We see every one of them so powerful. There was a devotee who used to come for Pada Puja. He came once, he did Pada Puja, and then he said he had terrible headache, like Bama. And then somebody recommended Pada Puja here in the ashram, and that's why he came. He carried the heavy Padukas from cottage number 10 to the Pradhan Mandir. He did the puja, and then after that he did not turn up at all for 6 months. So after 6 months, when he showed up, I asked him why he didn't come at all. He said, Amma, I did this Pada Puja, I carried his heavy padukas on my head and did Pada Puja, and after that there was no headache at all. I was suffering from this headache for so long, and I approached many doctors and there was no cure. But after I carried those heavy padukas, it was terrible when I carried it, but after that, miraculously, there was no more any headache. This reminds me of another interesting incident that happened with Paramacharya. A school boy came and reported to him that he was suffering from constant headache, because of which he was unable to study, he was unable to remember anything, for his examinations he was suffering. Paramacharya said, look, I know only Advaita. I know only Veda Shastras, not Vaidya Shastra. Why do you come to me? Then when the boy insisted, Paramacharya gave him a solution. He said, okay, you must do exactly what I say. You carry 4 kilos, or more than 4, I think 5 kilos, of either rice or wheat on your head, and you walk 1 mile, and what is more, you must keep chanting the Shivanam or Ramnam. You should not talk to anybody. And then after walking for 1 mile, you must give this away, the rice or wheat. Give it as a gift to somebody. You do it for 11 days, your problem will be solved. So he did everything as Paramacharya prescribed and was cured completely of his headache. So when he went to the hospital for the re-examination of his head, the doctor said in the previous scan, they found a vein displaced in the brain, and that was why he was suffering from this constant headache, because there was a lot of pressure there because of the displacement. He said, you must have done something which set it right, which brought it back to its original position. What did he do? Then he said he carried a weight of 5 kilos of rice every day, walked for a mile, chanting the name of God. The doctors were surprised. How could this be such an easy solution? So whatever that 1 kilo rice or wheat did to that boy, as suggested by Paramacharya, when this man, this devotee, carried the heavy padukas on his head, whatever was wrong got righted. He didn't even have to walk a mile. He just carried those heavy padukas from 10th cottage to the Pradhan Mandir and did naturally when he was carrying it, we sing only the name, He sang only the name of Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and it became all right. So now again, problems may sound very worldly, but then it invites your constant repetition of the name, the powerful name of God, the powerful name of Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And he didn't have to walk even a mile. Just see how the problem. So as I said, these worldly problems will lead to deepening of the faith, intensifying our faith in Bhagwan. So every suffering pushes us towards God. And therefore every suffering is a blessing in disguise. I am narrating only these Leelas because the world today, the condition in which it is in, suffering from this dreadful virus, we need such stories to encourage us, to keep us free from the problems. See, there was Thotapuri, the Advaitic guru of Ramakrishna. He was practicing Advaita for 40 years, but after he came to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he would not accept the worship of the Divine Mother. He was making fun of Ramakrishna. He said, "Oh, that's an idol. Why do you do this idol worship? Think of the attributeless, changeless, Parabrahman, the supreme consciousness, the supreme awareness. That's the only God we have to worship." But then Ramakrishna Paramahamsa tried to tell him that we needed the help of Divine Mother for our life. We needed her Shakti. But Thotapuri would not accept it easily, and then one day he got a severe stomachache. He was unable to bear. And then he walked into water to commit suicide because he was just not able to bear the pain. And that's when he realized worship of Shakti, because the Divine Mother appeared and then cured him. And then he accepted the worship of Shakti. The worship of Shakti is this: worshipping the form with the name, with pujas, with remembrance, intense remembrance. And that is why these problems, see, even for somebody who practiced Advaitic sadhana for 40 years, it was proved that when it came to a stomach ache, unable to bear, he resorted to suicide. He resorted to kill himself. So you see, problems are problems, and we have to face them, and there are too many challenges today in today's world. So we have to worship the idols, because they are not idols. They carry the power and grace of God, just as our Bhagwan here, the Murti of Bhagwan, carrying all his power, all his grace, with a raised hand in benediction, and there's a constant flow of grace. And the way we have been caught in this crushing situation because of an unseen teeny tiny virus. So let's appeal to Bhagwan, the Murti here. No matter how the disease is going on spreading, no matter how much fear we all have in mind, we have to go on with our prayer and nama chanting. The result is in his hands, and he will do it suitably. And when he does it at his will, at his time, the result will be remarkable. All the suffering that we have invited today, all because we have forgotten God. People started to live any way they liked, and then said that that is the right way of life. And so much violence everywhere, so much ill will towards people instead of brotherhood, and so much slaughtering of animals, merciless, ruthless slaughtering, just because people want a dish, a delightful dish on their dining table. So we have invited today's situation, and we have to try, practice remembrance of God, and beg the power that is running the whole cosmos. So let's appeal to Bhagwan's boundless compassion for immediate divine intervention to free this entire humanity from the clutches of this coronavirus.